What happened to her?
Dad?
On April 17th, the year's scariest movie arrives.
Let the mummification ritual begin.
Audiences are calling Lee Cronin's The Mummy glorious edge-of-your-seat horror, terrifying from beginning to end.
I really miss being a part of the family.
And an insanely scary ride. Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Only in theaters April 17th. Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent.
Spider Pig does whatever a Spider Pig does. Can he swing from a web? No, he can't. He's a pig. Look out, he is a Spider Pig.
Live from Joe's mom's basement, it's the Stacking Benjamin Show. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and happy Friday! To celebrate, we're going to do the obvious thing and ponder why, according to one recent media piece, men and women lie about how much money they make. To help, we welcome from Profit Boss Radio, Hilary Hendershott. Plus, from Afford Anything, Paula Pant. And from this here podcast, OG. Plus, we'll take a break and talk to a company disrupting the mortgage industry with the CEO of RateGravity, Patrick Boyagi. But that's not all. We'll also answer a listener call for help and ice the whole show down with some of my amazing trivia. And now, because weekends won't start themselves, here he is, Joe Saul-Sehy.
We're ready to get this weekend started, aren't we? Hey, everybody, I am Joe Saul-Sehy, Average Joe Money on Twitter, and man, do I have a great crew with me. Let's start across this card table from me, the one and only Mr. OG.
Man, it feels like a Wednesday, but it is the weekend.
It totally does. Like the longest week in history, but it just got better because out in the desert, let's go to the shortwave where we've got, I believe, Paula Pant hanging out with us.
I'm here. It's happening.
Yes.
Got a show in the works today.
We got a show. What does that mean?
I don't know. I was struggling to think of something. I was about to comment
Friday.
on what I was eating, but then I was like, nah, that's too predictable. So then I just said the first thing that came into my mind.
Yeah, swing and a miss, Paula.
No, swing and a miss.
Nice work. But good news, because somebody's here to save you, save all of us, save the show. From Profit Boss Radio, she's back. We've got Hilary Hendershott with us. How are you?
Hey, I'm out here catching Paula's pot fly.
Nice job. So for the three people that missed you, I think, is this your third time on? Second time on?
I think third.
Yeah, because I think we did one live from Podcast Movement last year.
We did.
And then
it may be my fourth.
It might be.
Maybe my fourth, because I believe I've recorded 2 episodes from San Jose, from my hometown with you.
Woohoo!
But I have a terrible memory. So
I can't even remember. I just know the show goes better when Hilary's here, which is great. So tell the 3 people that don't know about Profit Boss Radio about the awesome podcast.
Oh, thanks. So Profit Boss Radio is designed to empower women to build wealth. I'm a certified financial planner based out in the West Coast, but I've got clients all over. So I do a weekly show and we sometimes interview. I've got some incredible stories of things like financial infidelity. I've got financial recovery, stories of people women starting without 2 nickels to rub together and ending up with, sort of financial triumph. And then we do the bread and butter shows, like the stuff you need to know about investing in the stock market. I comment on the news. I talk about life insurance. I talk about Roth IRAs, stuff like that. So it's a variety show.
It's funny. I know I'm not the target audience. I'm the wrong gender, but I listen to you when I run and I have a great time. It is a blast listening to Profit Boss Radio.
Thanks. Well, I always put my heart and soul into it. Given I have a business to run, I can't do as many episodes a week as you, my podcast mentor, the one I look up to, but I do try to make it all high quality.
It is very high quality. And speaking of high quality, Hilary saving this show. We've got a great show today. We've got a very interesting roundtable discussion about a recent New York Times article. We've got some great questions from a listener. That's all going to be easy peasy and fun. But you know what sometimes isn't fun, Paula Pant?
What's not fun, Joe?
Sometimes investing isn't fun. I like catching you when you have your mouth full. It's so fun. Thanks
Total
to
mouthful of noodles there.
Yeah, thanks to Emperor Investments for supporting Stacking Benjamins. Investing can be complicated. Selecting the right equities can be daunting, and even the most sophisticated investors can get tripped up. That's why Emperor Investments' new robo-advising platforms offering Stacking Benjamins listeners personalized all-equity portfolios free for 6 months. To take advantage of this exclusive offer, visit emperorinvestments.com/SB and select Stacking Benjamins podcast under How Did You Hear About Emperor during sign up. That's emperorinvestments.com/SB. We're also happy to be supported by Magnify Money. You know, the average person, Hilary, saves $450 when they head to Magnify Money instead of just going into their bank. How about that?
That's impressive.
I know. 4.5 Benjamins. Whether it's a better checking account, savings account, getting those credit card reward strategies working if you pay off your loans every month, or paying less interest to the man if you don't yet have your act together. StackingBenjamins.com/Magnify Money will help you get there. We got a great show. We've got Hilary Hendershott with us. All is well in the world. Let's get this party started.
Hello, darlings. And now it's time for your favorite part of the show, our Stacking Benjamins headlines.
Our headline today comes to us from the New York Times. This is written by Claire Kane Miller. When wives earn more than husbands, neither partner likes to admit it. Deceiving the census, new research suggests that social attitudes are lagging behind both workplace progress and how people actually live their lives. I'm going to read just the top of this to get us into our discussion today. Claire writes, the share of women who earn more than their husbands while still relatively small is growing. When women do earn more, both husbands and wives seem uncomfortable to the point of lying about it. That's the finding of a new paper from the Census Bureau, which compared what respondents told census surveyors about their earnings with what their employers told the IRS in tax filings. In opposite-sex marriages in which women earn more, women said, on average, that they earn 1.5 percentage points less than they actually did. Their husbands said they earned 2.9 percentage points more than they did. The census researchers, Marta Murray-Close and Misty Hegenis, concluded that people thought it was more socially desirable for men to earn more. So whether fudging the numbers was a conscious or unconscious choice, these social norms affected their answers. They called it manning up and womaning down. Hilary, I want to start with you. Why do you lie to the Census Bureau about how much money you make?
First of all, who talks to the Census Bureau? Have you ever actually reported anything to them? I avoid them, don't you?
Like you hide when the doorbell rings?
Yeah, I don't answer the door. The doorbell rings, it's basically a murderer, right?
Yeah,
it's either a salesman or a murderer. So I'm not interested in
Amazon is up there in our house.
They leave the stuff on the front porch, just like I told them to. I mean, I thought a lot about this. And that article, by the way, the underlying paper that was written was sort of 12 pages of really dense language, including it had some calculus formulas in it. Did you see it?
I did, yeah.
So I thought about reading it so I could say something smart for this segment, but I don't know. I just look at I mean, people come to my office all the time and I always ask them how much money do they make, and nobody ever knows. Nobody ever knows how much money they make. So I guess I'm not surprised, but it's probably unconscious. I don't really think that these women are saying to their census taker that if they earn $100,000, are they saying, I earn $99,000? So that they can seem less successful than they are, so that their husband still wants to, do that thing. Awkward silence. I don't know what I can say on this show.
I was waiting.
Say whatever you want.
Where this was headed.
Yeah, say whatever you want. We just beep it out.
Women are afraid if they make more money than their man, then their man won't love them or want them, right?
I disagree with that 100%. Okay. Maybe in the collective. Mrs. OG, I affectionately refer to her as my sugar mama.
Moneymaker?
Yes, before she decided to stay at home with our daughter, which is fantastic. And I love working from home, and I love having her home all the time. We're like a 40-year-old version of my 70-year-old grandparents 30 years ago. I have my half a sandwich, and she makes me a little cup of soup for lunch and that sort of thing. But, man, I loved it when she was making money. And Is it like a masculinity thing, maybe? Like, well, I can't tell the fellas at the bar that, the missus makes more money than me because they'll think less of me. Like, what? That's awesome. Are you kidding me? Like, you should be so lucky.
But that's what I wonder. I seriously wonder if that's the case, if there's still a high percentage of people, maybe more than we want to believe, that still are on that train.
Get over yourselves, I guess. I don't know. It seems ridiculous.
I just don't know if you guys are a representative sample. I mean, I think a lot of guys are still pretty old school. A lot of people are still pretty old school when it comes to money. And I think the traditional, and Paula, jump in here anytime because I'm struggling. But I think the traditional gender-based role model is the man provides. I've heard men say that they want to provide. I've never felt like I want to provide. I have felt like I want to make a lot of money, but I've never felt like, oh, my role in life is to provide. I feel more like my role in life is to educate my daughter, nurture her, to be loving with my husband. Right? I don't feel like I need to provide for him. But if the woman earns more, is she taking away that innate desire that men say they have to provide? Maybe in their perception. And I think.
But the next question, Hilary, is does he feel like he needs to provide? Does he feel the same thing?
Oh, definitely. My husband makes a lot more money than I do.
Yeah, but is that from a need to provide, a feeling that I need to provide for my family? Or is it like you, I want to make a lot of money, I want to be good at my career? Is it more I guess my question is it more gender-based or is it just his career decision?
No, my perception is that it's gender-based. I could have asked him in preparation for this, but he has told me he doesn't even relate to the money that comes in from his work like it's his. He relates to it like it's ours. Yeah. And, every time I buy my daughter, my 2-year-old something, I'm like, damn, those Chuck Taylors are expensive. Girl, you don't even know how much money I'm spending on you, how lucky you are. Right? I don't relate to my money like it's her money. I earned that. So I don't, it's different. I mean, but who are me and my husband are completely anecdotal examples. Yeah. Right? So
yeah. Paula, have you ever...
And neither of us report to the Census Bureau. So
just avoid them.
Paula, have you ever... Yeah, go ahead.
I read Farnoosh's book, which is called When She Makes More. And one of the points that Farnoosh made in her book, and that was a very well-researched book where she did her own survey of a lot of households, both in terms of collecting data as well as doing more in-depth interviews. One of the things that she found is that in households in which the woman made more, the type of job that the man had influenced the acceptability of it. So, for example, in a household in which the man is a police officer and the woman is a software developer, the fact that the man is still doing what is a traditionally stereotypically masculine job, a dangerous job, being a police officer, being a firefighter, being in the military, there wasn't that threat to masculinity because sure, he made less, but he was doing so in
he carries weapons.
Yeah, or it didn't have to necessarily be a weapon-based job. I mean, firefighting is an example. A lot of firefighters don't have weapons. Even something like construction worker, roofer, those are very traditionally masculine jobs. And so if you have a roofer or a plumber who's married to an anesthesiologist, I mean, the anesthesiologist is going to make quite a bit more, but the fact that the man is still doing something that is felt to be masculine, in Farnoosh's research, that had an impact on the way that couples perceived that income disparity.
Have you ever, Paula, felt like lowering your income when you talk about it publicly?
Yes, but not because I don't think it's because I'm female. It's often because I wonder if discussing income, it's a challenge to discuss income publicly, like on a blog or on a podcast, because mine in particular has had a huge range in a relatively narrow time frame. And so if I talk about the moments when it's high, I fear that it makes it sound as though my story was too easy. And when I talk only about the moments when it was very, very low, I fear that it doesn't recognize the fact that the latter years of high income have made a big impact. So I've struggled to talk about it publicly, but not because I'm female, at least not consciously, but because I worry about how reality-based my narrative is if I just cherry pick my income at a specific date without contextualizing it.
And yet, OG, the stereotype, and actually there's a lot of financial planners that you and I both know, big guy, who wear that one super high check that they got, like peacock feathers. Like they make that all the time. I made it once in one scenario and I made it all the time. And you even know the exact people I'm talking about.
You mean people who get big commission checks?
Well, people that make a lot of money. Paula talks about how her income goes up and down. And she said, I don't want to cherry pick those times and say that's what I make. Yet we know lots of men.
There are people who cherry pick
and say that's what they make all the time. Yes. I make that kind of money all the time when people know they don't.
Yeah. I don't really talk about it either, like in terms of, our household income or, how the business is doing and things like that. In fact, I'm more likely to talk about the lower numbers because I feel like after you get to a certain point is almost unfair, kind of like Paula said, to just say, oh, well, here's where we are now without putting in context but 1 year I made $600. And they go, oh, you made $600 a week for a year? No. I didn't say that. I said 1 year I made $600. To me, I think that's more important of a story in terms of the journey of being an entrepreneur for 20 years than putting on your blog that this week you made $2 million in a product sale. Does people do that still? Is that still a thing?
When they talk about revenue and not profit?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's that.
But the thing about talking about revenue and not profit, because I've been thinking a lot about this, is that
what kind of cars they drive.
There's a difference between operating profit, like the expenses that are necessary, and then there's a difference between that versus taking the profit that you've made, the revenue that you've made, and choosing to reinvest it for the sake of growth. So if you only show net profit, that net profit can be even more misleading because if you've heavily reinvested for future growth, then it makes your profits look lower than they actually are.
Well, of course, that's the age-old struggle with being an entrepreneur. Hilary, you know this, in working with entrepreneur clients, sometimes the best investment they know of is the investment in their own business. And you're saying, hey, we kind of got to diversify this a little bit. And they're like, no, that's cool. I know if I put $500,000 here, I turn it into $2 million at some point in time in the future, in my business or the product that I sell or something like that. This is a very difficult subject. I think back to the original piece about men and women fibbing about it. I don't get that. Like, to what end? To the Census Bureau, people are like, well, look at these schleps over here where the woman makes more.
Well, let's dive deeper into the piece. I want to read you a paragraph further down. A large study by economists at the University of Chicago using census data from 1970 to 2000 found that marriages in which the woman earned more were less likely to form in the first place and more likely to end in divorce. Women who out-earned their husbands were more likely to seek jobs beneath their potential, they found, and to do significantly more housework and childcare than their husbands, perhaps to make their husbands feel less threatened. I guess, Hilary, in your experience, when you work with couples where the woman makes more, do you find those couples the relationships a little bit more tenuous?
No, but my client base is not a representative sample, right? My website says wealth management for the empowered woman, financial services by women for women. So the people who show up in my office are not your bread and butter square state Americans. They're just different. It's usually the woman who runs the money. And I would say all of the men who work for me, and 35% of my clients are men, get over all of my core marketing messaging, right? So they're not your anti-feminist men. And a lot of the women I work with earn more than their husbands. And when I hear narratives like that, like what you just read in that article, I always think correlation, not causation. It's like, how do you know? Okay, so in the 1980s, women were taking jobs where they were underpaid and overqualified. And we already know that. And I don't necessarily believe that it's so they could make their husbands feel better. I think maybe that was just the situation women were in as a gender. No,
yeah.
I think I'm saying the wrong thing because your brow is really furrowed.
No, I'm thinking.
No, that's his normal face.
I'm actually thinking the whole time you're talking, Hilary, I didn't process that last number, 1970 to 2000. I mean, those are some
2000. I'm like, that's 2 decades ago. That's a generation ago.
I think there's been big changes that I've seen between 2000 and 2018.
Huge.
Big changes. Yeah, over that time. I don't know about this. I just know, like about your income, to the Census Bureau in the first place. Or to Hilary's point, John, you can cross that square off your bingo card.
Hilary doesn't know what we're talking about. She's like, wait, where's the bingo card? I wasn't aware of a game.
I'm smart enough to know it was an inside joke, guys.
John says that we say to your point a lot. Yes. So Hilary, to your point, John, I think just answering the door to the Census Bureau. What the hell's wrong with you? What are you thinking? Maybe that's our takeaway. Is that our takeaway, Paula?
Well, what's interesting about this whole Census Bureau thing is for most of my adult life, I've lived in multi-unit property. Like I live in a condo right now. I've been here for 3 years. Before this, I lived in a triplex, and that was for 5 years. No Census Bureau officials come into multi-unit properties as much. So I don't know how the Census Bureau stuff works, but I wonder if they're overrepresenting for occupants of single-family homes.
Welcome to the...
All I know is I'm going to lie about it the next time they show up. I'm going to bring them in for coffee and just make stuff up.
You're just going to jack up your income by like 40% just to do it. And Hilary's going to undercut hers by like 50%.
Yep.
I did share my income and my entire net worth. I had a live event in the beginning of the year. So it was a closed room. It was about 80 people. And I showed them my entire net worth statement. And I showed them like where I was, because I went from like negative 150. I wasn't much below. I mean, it was probably negative $100,000 of net worth to like where I am now. And it was probably one of the most vulnerable, frightening experiences of my life. And I wanted to both understate and overstate. I went through both those phases of like, it's not enough, it's too much, it's going to intimidate them. Here it should be more than this. Like really you should be, I don't know, Warren Buffett, or because the number is just what the number is. And then I just made up a bunch of stuff about what the number should have been. I mean, and I shared it as accurately and as transparently as I knew how to, but it was a very emotional experience.
Paula, have you ever done net worth sharing income reports?
I have spoken about my net worth in terms of rounded figures. So I've spoken about my net worth being... Actually, I take that back. You know what? When I was interviewed for the Playing with Fire documentary, which was going to be released in January of 2019, I shared my net worth there. I don't know if they're going to air that or if they put that on the cutting room floor, but I said it in what might end up being a movie. In what will be a movie. That snippet may or may not end up being in there.
Was it accurate? Was it jacked up a little bit, or was it a little lower than it really is?
It was accurate as of the time that I did that interview.
As of the time, yeah. Interesting piece. We'll link to it on our show notes page at stackofbenjamins.com. Usually we have a set takeaway. I don't know what we did. I think norms are changing. I think you guys are all saying the same thing there, but it is a little disturbing to see people today still lying about how much money they make to the Census Bureau.
I know. To whom? I'm going to lie to this complete stranger for no utility.
Well, I'm so happy, guys, that upstairs talking to Mom is Patrick Boyagi. Patrick is the founder of a company called RateGravity. So this company is not available yet across the United States. They're in Massachusetts, but this is an area that we really need to talk about more. And I think it's an area that's ripe for disruption. We're going to talk mortgages, and I find this pretty exciting what RateGravity's up to. So hang on. Let's say hello to Patrick Boyagi coming down to the basement to talk mortgages with us. And coming down the stairs to the basement from RateGravity, it's our new friend, Patrick Boyagi. How are you, man?
I'm good, Joe. How you doing?
Well, I'm great now that you're here because we haven't talked a lot about mortgages on our Friday FinTech segment, and I'm very curious about how the heck you came up with the idea for RateGravity. Tell me where it all started.
Yeah, I mean, the story really starts with my personal experience. Prior to starting RateGravity, I ran the residential lending business for a bank here in Boston. And, in the 5 years that I was at this bank, I was responsible for $11 billion worth of home loans, Joe. And that was some 30,000 transactions. And yet, despite being responsible for this many loans, when it came time for me to get my own mortgage, I didn't go to my own bank.
Wow. That That's a good referral in reverse, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is not an indictment on my bank. It's a fine institution. But you see, Joe, lending is about fit. Okay, not every lender is right for every borrower, and not every lender is right for every property type. Moreover, once you find those lenders that are right for you, it's imperative that you get the best terms. And so what I did is I used the tools that were available to a traditional loan originator to figure out exactly how much I could afford, what lenders were right for me, what loan products were appropriate for my particular scenario, and what were the real interest rates available. Very personal rates to me, not those that you see on some ad board. And once I had that information, Joe, I was empowered to go out and shop and to find myself the best mortgage.
Somebody told me, Patrick, not to cut you off, but somebody told me one time in the mortgage industry back when I was a financial planner, they said, listen, when you read these mortgage boards, the ones that you're talking about, this was his quote. He said, that's everybody's best lie.
Totally. In fact, if you think about those things, what they do is they're just an ad board, right? It's, how do you capture somebody's attention with the most egregiously low rates? But, they don't have any personalized information about you. So how can they do that? And in fact, those sites actually sell your lead and your personal information to at least 3 different institutions. So for me, it wasn't about going and finding the best deal through that platform. It was about using my insider knowledge. I had this very keen understanding of my personal profile, but now I was prepared to shop. And I went and I looked at those institutions that I knew were a perfect fit for me and for my profile. And then once I found one, I reached out to the woman who ran the lending business there and I said, I want to get my loan through you. You got the best product and rate for what I'm looking for. And I know I fit perfectly with you. And she was really excited. She said, okay, great. I said, but it's going to come with a caveat. I want an even lower rate than the one you're offering. And she said, well, why would I do that? I said, well, listen, I know my loan matches perfectly to you. I don't need to talk to your mortgage salesperson about which product and what rate and will I be a fit. I've already deciphered that. And if you force me to go work with that individual, they're going to get paid a commission. And that commission is actually going to drive up my interest rate. Because you see, Joe, interest rates can vary between lenders by as much as 0.5%. And the biggest expense to a lender is actually the commission they pay to the salesperson. And what's really crazy is that that commission doesn't show up anywhere in any single disclosure in the entire mortgage experience. So by being able to go directly into her process, she was able to give me a lower rate, and the lender actually made the same profit or more. So we all won. And if I compare my rate through this institution to the one I would have gotten in my own bank, I'll save $42,000 over the life of my loan. So when I said I didn't get my loan through my own bank, it's not that it's not a good institution. It is. It's just, my loyalty is to my family and to my Benjamins more than it is to my employer at the time. So it was that experience that really drove me to say, you know what? This is an opaque industry. In a lot of ways, it's kind of corrupt in favor of lenders and not consumers. And I felt like I could take my personal experience and make it available to everyday homeowners and home buyers and just use technology to create that same experience that I had with my insider knowledge. And that's what we've done at RateGravity.
How long was the time frame between your personal experience and going, hey, I need to form a business that does this?
It took me about a year to year and a half. I have 3 little boys. I have a mortgage. I had a really good job. And it's scary to go out and be an entrepreneur, but the way I look at it, Joe, is there's 2 types of risk in life. There's the risk of action and there's the risk of inaction. And the risk of action is what I'm in the midst of. The risk of inaction is, that I'd look back on my life 20 years from now and say, I never did it. And I just felt like there was too big an opportunity to create better financial outcomes for everyday consumers. And this is likely the biggest financial transaction of people's lives. And oftentimes they're going with the first lender they go to, or they're ending up overpaying for their mortgage by a substantial amount. I just felt like we could have a profound influence on a lot of individuals. And quite frankly, it can reflect positively across the entire economy if you think about it.
Well, two things, Patrick. Number one is when you mentioned half a point, I think if somebody's driving down the road in their car right now and they go, well, it's 0.5%. But 0.5% on a $250,000 mortgage over a 30-year loan is a ton of money.
Tons of money. And you know what? The Consumer Finance Protection Bureau tells us that 77% of home buyers apply with just one lender. Think about that, Joe. I mean, you guys are on here all the time telling people about how to navigate, all the different financial products to find something that's right for them to help them save some money. We shop for everything. Like, you think about Amazon, you're shopping for diapers and jeans. But when you go to buy your house, which is the biggest purchase of your life, you go with the first guy and you don't even know if he's giving you fair terms or not. That to me is just crazy. So for us, it's really been about giving consumers an opportunity to first and foremost know that the lenders in our network are really vetted, that we're going to match you to the lender that is most appropriate to you. We don't just bring any lender on. We source all the lenders from certain regions so that the lenders know your market. They're going to use local underwriting. They're going to use local appraisers. We show you all their rates and all the options side by side so you can compare them. And what's more is we actually let you shop anonymously. So we don't share any of your personal information with any of the lenders until you decide you want to move forward.
And that's the piece, by the way, Patrick, that made me want to have you on the show is we don't see that often. Usually in that industry, you're filling out a big old form just to see what the different options are.
Totally. So you'll come to our site, in as little as 5 minutes, we collect enough information to know exactly how much you can afford, which is the lender that's most appropriate for you. We don't even take your social security number, and we don't even do a hard credit inquiry.
Let's actually walk through that if you don't mind. So,
sure.
So I'm at the site right now, RateGravity.com. I see that I've got 1 of 2 buttons I can click, buying or refinancing. Tell me what happens after I click the first button.
Yeah, so you'll pick one of the 2 options, and then you'll go through like a brief series of questions just to sort of filter you and know where you are in the stage of the process. So example, if you pick buying, you could be at the very early stages. You could be thinking about doing this in the next 2 years, and you just want to understand how much you can afford. You could have an accepted offer, and you're ready to act right now. So we'll sort of filter you down there. We'll ask you a brief series of questions. The traditional lender always asks for way more information that they need at this early stage because they're just trying to create higher switching costs. They don't want you to go anywhere else. So we make it really easy. We just ask exactly what we need. As I said, no hard credit inquiry, no social security number.
How do you know my credit score then?
What we use is 2 of the credit bureau's pre-qualification tools. What we're able to do is get the FICO 2 model, which is the same model used by every single lender, okay, which gives us your credit score and gives us all your trade lines so that we can calculate your debt to income ratio and we know what your score is so that we know how to price out your loan. Okay, so we have all that information. Okay, that all goes into an algorithm that determines will you qualify for financing according to a universal set of underwriting guidelines, those really attributed to Fannie and Freddie. And then we include any overlays or any more liberal underwriting guidelines from our lenders. So we know if you're going to get approved for financing or not. And then every single one of our customers gets access to one of our home advisors. We think it's just too big and too important a transaction not to have an advocate and an expert there for you. So everybody goes through, has 10, 15-minute conversation with one of our home advisors. If you want to spend an hour with us, we're happy to do that. But if you just want to get an understanding of what's going on, that's what we'll do. If you got an accepted offer, what we'll do is we'll take your profile, we'll put it out to bid. All of our lenders will come back with their best offers. We present them to you. If you're just looking to get pre-approved, we'll issue you a pre-approval letter. What's neat about the tool that we've created is you actually can adjust your pre-approval letter on demand. You don't have to call us to make any changes to it. Or if you're just thinking about how much you can afford, we'll give you a really cool affordability tool that allows you to determine exactly how much you can afford. And what's great is you haven't committed to any single lender at this point, Joe.
You're giving just the lender here's person A with Y credit score, not telling him my name, not telling him who I am, and saying based on this anonymously. So I guess what I'm asking is, you've got information about me, but you haven't shopped that information to Bank of America, to everybody else.
That's absolutely true. And let's be clear, we don't actually go to the big, large lending institutions. We work with community banks, credit unions, and local mortgage companies, because these are institutions that treat you like a real person. You're not just a number. But you're right. We don't just take your credit score. We figure out exactly what your debt to income ratio is, which is a necessary measure from all lenders to determine if you qualify. We figure out what your loan to value ratio is, which is another criteria that lenders need to know. And we have your credit score. And there's a number of other things depending upon the type of property that you're looking to buy, all the different variables that go into figuring out what exactly is the rate and the terms that they'll offer you for your personal situation. And the lenders will deliver on all of those terms. This is not like that ad board that we referred to, where, once you actually get into it, things are all going to change for you.
You find out that rate was because there's 2 points, right? And because the fees are through the roof, so they're offering you a low rate, but they're capturing all that money in a different way.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, we will literally, you'll get a rate quote screen that allows you to open up each and every offer. You'll see the lender. Every lender on our platform has a Better Business Bureau rating of A+. You'll be able to compare costs side by side, and we'll coach you through it. Again, what's important is that we've actually vetted all these lenders, so we know they can deliver on their service level standards that we've set for them. We know that they'll meet all the important milestones in your purchase and sale. And by the way, we don't just match you with them. We stay with you throughout the entire experience. So we know that you're hitting all the milestones in your purchase and sale agreement. We know that you get to closing on time. And if there's any issues, we help you resolve those.
So if you're hiring people, you started off this conversation talking about how you avoided some of the salespeople, but then you just told me that you have people on your team that I'm going to work with. How do you keep the costs low then?
Yeah, really technology is the lever for it. All of our people are paid base salaries. They don't get paid any commission. And we are totally transparent about the fees that the lender pays us. So the lender pays us 0.25% of the loan amount. The Mortgage Bankers Association tells us that the average commission paid to a loan officer is 115 basis points, 1.15%. So we're a fraction of the cost, and all those savings get returned back. So how do we do it more efficiently? Well, technology. The technology gives the home advisors all of the information that we need. The consumer provides all of that through our online app. And then we leverage this managed marketplace that we've created. Our lenders do a lot of the heavy lifting in the way of, processing, underwriting, and closing the loan. And that's what they're really good at, Joe.
Sure. Yeah. So leave the process on their shoulder to do what they excel at, and you handle the rest.
Right. Most of these institutions aren't great at acquiring customers because they can't really stand out from the crowd. These smaller community banks and credit unions, there's tens of thousands of these all over the country. They offer great products, and they're really good at treating customers the right way, and they give really good rates. But, how do you find this small community bank without, a relationship there?
Yeah,
but on our platform, we bring them to you.
When Bank of America is spending money hand over fist against them, it's funny, Patrick, because just on Monday, both OG and I were talking about how we both prefer to work with credit unions and community banks. But you're right. It's because they're phenomenal processes later, not because they're findable. Like the hard thing is finding that community bank.
Totally.
Exactly. Well, I've got one more thing I wanted to ask you, which is I know you're not standing still. You've obviously created RateGravity now. What's coming up next for RateGravity? You've anything, nobody listens to the show. So if there's anything secret, you can probably tell me, and it's just going to be you and I talking about it.
Right. Yeah. It's like if I tell you, I might as well just go tell your mom. And that's like the extent of
that's it.
Who we're going to reach.
Well, maybe two people on Mom's Bridge Club, but that's it. Nobody else listens.
Well, right now we're based in Massachusetts. We do get licensed at each state level as a mortgage broker. And the reason for that is, we want to live up to all the regulatory standards that consumers expect of an institution like ours. We want to be trustworthy. We want to meet all those standards. So to date, we've just been in Massachusetts, but later this year, we're expanding throughout New England, and we're going to be expanding into some additional markets outside of New England later next year as well. So really exciting stuff, and happy to spend time with your customers, even those customers outside of our state. Look, we're a mission-driven organization, Joe. We really believe that we can do right by the customer, and we can help them figure out what's in their best interest. The mortgage they deserve, not the mortgage that a lender wants to give to them. So, happy to help people as they go through their experience, and really excited to get to all 50 states and really serve the broader U.S. economy.
I know that there's a bunch of people listening in California and Washington State, Arizona going, oh, but I loved it. I want it now. So you have to make sure you let us know as you move across the United States, and we'll let our listeners know. But Patrick, thanks a ton for spending some time with us. By the way, everybody, if you're driving down the road and you want to know more, we'll have the RateGravity website on our show notes page at stackingbenjamins.com. Patrick, thanks a ton, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Joe, it was a real pleasure.
Hey there, trivia fans. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug. And ever since Doug Goldstein came down to the basement to talk inheritances, I've been trying to figure out how to get one. Without ending up on 2020 or America's Most Wanted or something like that. I've been asking Gertrude if she'll give me an inheritance, and apparently that's a big no. So I think I need a better plan. Or better friends. Anywho, let's get you some trivia, shall we? Here's an inheritance-related question. What percentage of parents in America anticipate leaving an inheritance for their children? I'll be back with the answer and maybe a better way to score an inheritance in just a moment.
All right, we backstage explained the incredibly complex rules to Hilary. You are on Team Len Penzo, and that means, Hilary, you guys have gotten 4 right so far, or you've won this silly contest 4 times. Team Paula has won it 3 times, and OG is lagging behind at 2. So according to our rules, then, that means OG gets to decide if he's going to guess first, in the middle, or last.
I will go last, yes.
Huh, that's weird. And then, so Paula, I'm guessing you're going to go in the middle then.
I will go in the middle.
Which means, Hilary, you have the...
Welcome to the show.
Yes. Well,
wait a second. Are you saying I have to pick a number between 1 and 100?
You have to pick a number between... Yes. What percentage of parents... And remember, if you're over, your guess is disqualified. So what percentage of parents are going to leave an inheritance for their kids? Plan on leaving an inheritance for their kids?
I guess 11.
Paula.
It's a pretty aggressive bet there.
Wow. Well, in my head, I was thinking like 80%. That was the first thing that popped into my mind.
Maybe that's a little difference in the way you view the world and Hilary views the world.
I mean, it depends,
Hilary's gonna...
it depends on how you define inheritance, right? If you're talking, I'm not talking about anything lavish, but if you're talking about leaving a house.
Or bad attitude.
Or leaving a car.
Demeanor. Yep.
Or leaving like maybe $5,000 or $10,000, like nothing big, but leaving $10K or $10K plus a car. Yeah, I could see that. All right, I guess
based on the fact, Paula, that this is CNBC that did this, I'm guessing it's money. That we're not talking about like leaving the house or leaving, stuff that you used when you pass away. I don't really consider that inheritance as much as take the crap I used now that I'm dead.
Oh, really?
Joe's disclosing more of the info after Hilary's already guessed.
Well, it's like your opportunity to sell my stuff.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. What a deal.
So I don't know, Hilary, if that means you want to change. It means you want to change your number, but I'm guessing if you said 11%, you base that on money, that you think 89% of parents say they're going to spend it all.
I think most people are a little bit hopeless about money, and that their attitude about it is, the kids would be lucky if I left them something.
And there's the 11%. So Paula?
Yep. Okay, I'm going with 65.
Wow, opposite ends of the spectrum. 11 or 65. Put yours in there, OG.
I had originally thought 47. That was the number that popped in my head. I know that the little OGs would be loaded. It's kind of funny. My middle kid is much more interested in money than the oldest one. And of course, the baby is doesn't know anything about anything. But he said, Dad, if you and Mom die, where's all the money go? I said, to your sister. He's like, what? I said, well, before that, it was your brother. He's like, what? I said, well, we like your sister more than both of you together. So, I guess you have to be really nice to her. So, gosh, I want to say 47, but it's Price is Right style. I think the correct answer is 47, but in the interest of security, I'm going to say 39.
39.
Yes.
Right there in the middle.
So I just locked in 11 to 38, right?
You locked in 11 to 38 with that answer, yes. I thought he was going to say 12, but
well, that's the tactical answer, but I like to be right. So
all right. We're so happy that Emperor Investments supports this episode of the Stacky Benjamin Show. It's funny, we had Brenna and Francis, the co-founders, on the show recently, and at FinCon this week, I actually got to meet Brenna and talk with her in person more about Emperor Investments. And it's one of those cool things where you ask somebody to sponsor the show, and that's one thing. You did your homework. You think you know the product. And then when the people that run it are people that you like on top of it, I like that even better. But if you don't know much about Emperor Investments is a new tech-driven investment platform looking to shake up the investing space. And they're giving all of us basement dwellers personalized all equity portfolios fee-free for 6 months. So if you're listening to this, you can score an all equity portfolio fee-free for 6 months through Emperor Investments. I'll tell you how in just a second. But Emperor portfolios comprise some of the largest and best-known dividend-paying U.S. companies. Emperor Investments is a lifestyle investment company. They understand that investors have different goals and dreams, like a new house, a dream vacation, retirement, and more. Emperor's platform creates customized portfolios designed to help you meet those life goals. And they invest solely in individual dividend-paying stocks. So when you're comparing Emperor to other robo-ish platforms, they're buying individual stocks for you versus another platform which might be buying maybe too many ETFs, might have a more amalgamated approach. Emperor is investing solely in your account in individual dividend-paying stocks, which gives you a tailored portfolio. To take advantage of this exclusive offer, that's 6 months fee-free. Head to emperorinvest.com/SB. It's not Emperor Investments, it's emperorinvests.com/SB, and select Stacking Benjamin's podcast under How Did You Hear About Emperor during sign up. That's emperorinvest.com/SB. Normally on Friday, we head to Magnify Money using our link, stackingbenjamins.com/magnify money, to go over current interest rates. But because we're recording this one a little early because of FinCon, the Financial Money and Media Conference, today I want to talk about some of Magnify Money's free guides. Because if you head to stackingbenjamins.com/magnify money, not only will you find the best in checking accounts, savings accounts, linked checking and savings, CD rates, low interest credit cards, 0% interest cards, or if you pay your bills in full, cash back rewards. You need a balance transfer, they've got that. Personal loan, student loan refinance, it's all there. Auto loans, they've got that covered too. stackingbenjamins.com/magnify money. But on top of that, as I was explaining, they also have some free guides that I've not only pointed to, but that we've also used. I used with my twins. I helped them establish credit on their own by using a Magnify Money guide, which is people trying to first establish credit. And there's guides on how to complain, a guide on eliminating credit card debt, a credit score guide, and of course, new, because things have changed in this area, the credit monitoring and ID theft guide, which all those rules recently have changed. On top of that, there's calculators. How much house can I afford? The personal loan calculator, snowball versus avalanche method of paying down debt calculator, credit card payoff, student loan refinance, balance transfers and personal loans, and a money personality quiz. On top of that, one of the best money blogs in the business, all at Magnify Money. Use our link to tell them we sent you, stackingbenjamins.com/magnify money. The average person saves over $450 just by visiting Magnify Money to compare, ditch, switch, and save when it comes to those financial products you use every day. All right, here's where we're at. what percentage of parents in America anticipate leaving an inheritance for their children? Hilary says 11. Feeling good about that answer, Hilary?
Good-ish.
OG, 39. Feeling pretty good?
Well, I guess if I thought about it in hindsight, I might have picked the halfway point between the two of them, but that's okay. I think I'm pretty good.
And Paula, you've got 65 and over, everything above 65.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit nervous.
I don't know. You're feeling like the glass is half full, like everybody's being nice to their kids. How great a world is that? Yeah.
I guess it all goes down to how you define the word inheritance, I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, here we go. Doug, take it away.
Hey there, trivia fans. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and talking to the Stacking Benjamin social media team, a.k.a. Gertrude, I realized we should have a Facebook contest. Yeah, a Facebook contest. We used a contest to publicize our tour, so why not to find generous people who want to deal Doug some Benjamins? That's a good idea. That is a good idea, and you know it. We'll play test it, but for now, let's play test this trivia question. What percentage of parents in America anticipate leaving an inheritance for their children? The answer? Well, I have yet to find someone to hand me some cash, Gertrude. According to CNBC, while 68% of children are expecting an inheritance, only 40% of parents plan on leaving one. So much for kids and parents being on the same page about money, huh? It seems like more parents would get with the program and think more about their kids and less about themselves. These millennials need cash. See ya!
That is horrible. Oh.
You should have seen Paula's face. She was all like,
Can I get a handicap?
Oh, man. When I heard 68% before the rest of that sentence happened, holy moly.
You thought you were there, weren't you?
Oh, yeah.
So Paul is definitely on the side of the kids there.
yes.
Kids should have been right. And by the way, Hilary, when you say you got a handicap, you came on the show. That's already your handicap right there. OG catching up. 39.
Just draw the, what is that called when you're playing poker and you get the last card?
Like the flop? You win on the flop?
No, that's the last one. That's the first three. Anyway.
On the river?
You got it. What did you say? The river, yes.
Win on the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the river.
Well, and the river's flowing right now to somebody that needs help. We apparently got a wrong number, Hilary, because somebody called us up and left a voicemail and they really want our help. I have no idea what that's about.
Well, let's listen.
Yes, but today's call for help is brought to you by the Stacking Benjamins Tour. We are still coming to Kansas City and to Detroit. For tickets, stackingbenjamins.com/tour. Be in Kansas City on October 9th at the Improv, and then we'll be at Go Improv Comedy Theater in fabulous Ferndale, just north of Detroit, on October 24th. Tickets, $10, stackingbenjamins.com/tour. And today's call for help comes to us from our new BFF, Leo. Say hi, Leo.
Hi, Joe and OG. I'm Leo. My wife and I have been aggressively saving money to reach financial independence. It has led us to become very cheap and discussing money all the time. Our recent vacations have been the long road trips when we relocated for our jobs while listening to Stacking Benjamins. At least Doug kept us entertained. How do we give ourselves permission to splurge on fun stuff more while also reaching our number one priority of reaching financial independence as soon as possible? Thanks, guys.
Leo lives an exciting life. The long road trips between jobs.
Vacation is listening to you guys.
Living the dream, Hilary. Living the freaking dream right there.
In his Toyota Prius.
Right. So let's talk about this because you see a lot of people getting very fired up about their money, right? And by fired up, that's on purpose. A lot of people.
It's a euphemism and.
Celebrating the FIRE movement, but you're also seeing people getting kind of militant and thinking, man, I can't spend any money now. So, Paula, what do you think?
Well, financial independence is his number one priority. So then my first question is, once you are financially independent, what are you going to do? How will your life change? Envision that. And within that answer, you'll know what's most important to you. Because you've said that FI is most important to you, right? So what happens after FI? That is how you know what matters and start doing more of that. Because if I just told you to spend money for the sake of spending it, you might not actually enjoy that. It might be more fun for you or more meaningful for you to do something that might also happen to be free. So what happens after you reach FI? How will your time be spent? That's your best insight into what you actually want to be doing. And then do more of that, regardless of whether it's free or whether it costs money.
Do more of that today.
Yeah, exactly. Do more of that today. So if you imagine you're reaching FI and spending more time volunteering, do more of that today. If you imagine yourself reaching FI and spending more time out in nature, hiking, skiing, camping, do more of that today. Whatever it is that you see yourself doing after you reach FI, regardless of whether or not it has a cost, start doing that now.
Hilary, in some ways, this is a great client because, man, they see the mission and they're on it. But who wants to be that person?
I actually had a young person come to me one time, and he was very specific about how much money he was not going to spend. And ultimately, I declined to work with that person. And this was before the FI movement was popular. And I don't know that my declining to work with that person is even relevant to this conversation, but I really do want to sort of piggyback off what Paula said, because it's actually what you said, Joe, which is I'm a tad bit in the bodybuilding community, like the fitness competition community. And I think people can just go crazy when there's a goal in mind. I know women who haven't menstruated in 10 years because their body percentage is 1.8 or something. And I think it's a little bit hyper focus on not spending money. I myself lived on $40 a day in Europe for 6 months. And that includes accommodations and travel. And I know that's only 6 months. And I know there's lots of FI people who've done it longer than 6 months. And I just don't want to live that way anymore. I don't want to live where the only entertainment I can afford is a free book at the have one, leave one, need one, take one exchange. Look, I experience myself as financially independent now. I have a job that I love. I run a business that I love. I take vacations. I mean, I'm not telling you there's sometimes I do things I don't want to do. Sometimes that's working out. I'm going to have to do that after I stop working, right? Or sometimes there's logistical things I have to handle in my business that I don't want to do. But I don't think that you can escape that. So I guess I just don't really get the strict militant Spartan FI thing, because I want more luxuries in my life than that. So I'm willing to bust my ass 8 to 10 hours a day, 4 days a week, and then go on 3 weeks of vacation to Europe once a year. I don't know if I'm completely off the deep end right now.
A little balance. Well, what I'm hearing is a little balance.
How about increasing the slope of the line, my friend?
Yeah.
Like earn a little bit more money. Put some flexibility in your life.
Oh, gee, when you heard Leo talking about being that militant, what was your first thought?
One of the things that I thought I heard him say was, my goal is to become financially independent as soon as possible, which is BS, because that's not really a goal. As soon as possible is not a time frame. I would say put a time frame on that. And to Paula's point, and to Hilary's point.
A double, John. A double.
Yeah. You got to take 2 shots now. I don't get it either. I have a friend of mine who did a RV trip through the western part of the United States with her family. And that's something that very much interests me next summer with the kids and seeing the national parks. And I said to her, I'm not exactly a park camping person. I've done that in my life. I'm kind of more of, can I say, like a Four Seasons person? Like that's more of the speed that where you press the button and they bring you a cup of coffee. I said, how do you justify that? I think it's going to be fun. And she said, yeah, we did like 5 days of RV trip and then went, okay, it's time for a Ritz, and parked the RV at the Walmart and Ubered to the Ritz-Carlton and hung out there for 2 days. I'm like, yes, that is what I want to do. That's perfect. That's like a good balance.
That's totally, by the way, that is by the way, exactly the way Cheryl and I, when we camp, it is no more than 3 days camping and then at least 1 day at a nice hotel and then 3 more
and then
days
spa,
yes.
You get like the massage and then, the cocktails for breakfast and stuff. But that's me. That's what we want to do for our family. I think when it comes to financial planning, and you're aggressively going toward this, hey, I want to be financially independent when I'm 40, or I want to be financially independent when I'm 42. If you miss it by a year, but you got to do a whole bunch of cool stuff along the way, did that ruin your life at all? Or, hey, I wasn't financially independent when I was 50, but I made it when I was 55. I think that there are two really big crimes in financial planning. And the first one, of course, that gets all the press is undersaving. That's the stuff that we talk about all the time, where somebody reaches 65, they're retiring, and they go, and I got 82 grand. How's that working? But the other side of it, which is equally as bad, in my opinion, is oversaving. And if you don't take your kids to Disney, you're
I'm not
missing
sure
it.
about this one. Oversaving and under luxuriating, like sacrificing.
What are you going to do with $22 million when you're 100 years old and your grandkids never got to see Mickey Mouse? That's BS. Take your kids to Disney. It's awesome. And it costs a lot of money and it's really stupid, but it's great.
But to Leo, he's like young. He's got to be young. We heard his voice. It lacked intonation, but we heard his voice. He's got to be young. And so he's already experiencing the scarcity of the plan that he's got. That's not going to change when he reaches FI. He's going to keep living on the same cash flow. Unless I'm crazy wrong about the math that he's doing, he's got that years of that life left. And if he's not happy, he needs to alter the trajectory a wee bit.
But it might be the case that right now he has to wake up to an alarm, commute, shovel snow away from his driveway, and then commute to a terrible job where he sits under these terrible fluorescent lights. We don't know exactly what he means when he says FI. A lot of people use FI as a proxy for quitting salaried W-2 employment for another employer. They don't necessarily mean it. They don't. I'm getting there. They don't necessarily mean it. I'm in the middle of. They don't necessarily mean it as the point at which they stop earning income forever in perpetuity. So the first thing that we need to know is what he means by FI. Because if what he means is, I want to quit my job and I need to meet this certain barometer in order to be able to quit my job, then there is something to be said for doing that as quickly as possible so that he can then start some other form of self-employment or form of entrepreneurship from a position of strength.
But there's a different piece here, Paula, that I haven't heard anybody really bring up yet, which is back when I was a financial planner, you'd see people not make it to that goal. And I get so worried that Leo's going to do all the saving and he doesn't make it. And then he and his family missed out on, what happened? They strove for a goal and he passed away before he got there. You just don't know what's going to happen to you tomorrow. I sometimes feel like we plan as if the future is certain. And I think there's a little bit of the future's not that certain.
If it were the case that he's perfectly happy living the way that he is, then he wouldn't have even called in with that question and this wouldn't be a conversation.
Yeah, right.
There are people in the FI world who are perfectly happy living in their tiny home, getting books from the library, growing food in their garden, and that's it.
Right.
But the fact that he sounds unhappy, that's the symptom that something needs to change. But what that something is, we don't know. It might be that his job is making him unhappy, and maybe he needs a lower barometer for FI so that he can get there faster so that he can quit that job. Or it might be his preconceived notions about what happens after FI. Or it might be that the thing that he wants to do that happens after FI, he's not doing yet. Like, FI is such a fuzzy word with so many interpretations that I think is what we need to figure out. What does he mean by it? What does his life look like now? What are the aspects of his current life that he wants removed? And what are the aspects of his new life that he wants added?
Thanks for the question, Leo. If you've got a question for the show, head to stackybenjamins.com. And at the top of the page, you'll see questions for the show, and you'll find all the ways to interact with us. By the way, Leo's taken home one of those cool Greatest Money Show on Earth circus t-shirts for calling in. So see, Hilary, we bribe people. We totally bribe them to call us with a kick-ass t-shirt.
Well, at least now he has a t-shirt.
There it is. He listens to Stacky Benjamin Show. He's got a t-shirt, and that's all he needs. Well, that's going to do it for today, guys. Let's talk about what's going on where you live. And Paula, what's happening at that phenomenal Afford Anything podcast and blog?
On the Afford Anything podcast, we have an interview with Brian Portnoy, who is an investor who talks a lot about decision making, the metacognition of how to make better decisions.
Awesome. And we'll link to that on our show notes at stackybenjamins.com. What do you got going on this weekend, OG?
Oh, some more after school activity stuff. Thanks for asking. And, this, that, and the other thing. Driving, flying, and doing things that people agree with or disagree with.
And lying to your middle kid about which one you love the most.
Who said that's a lie? Based on the phone call I got from the principal today. He did not move up the ladder. Basically, is what I'm saying.
That is not good. Hilary, thanks a ton for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
It was always so fun when you're here with us. Tell me what's going on at Profit Boss Radio.
Well, coming up, we have an interview with a listener named Jenna who found herself in a financial infidelity situation, a horrible situation where her husband was kind of taking money out of the marital accounts and lying about it. She had sheriffs show up at her house, and she shares with us how she decided to leave that relationship. And then on the other side of the coin, we've got an elder law attorney who's going to share with you how you can navigate paying for very, very, very expensive healthcare in your silver years, older years, later years, without depleting the family assets. So legal ways that you can protect what would be your kids' inheritance, now that we've been talking about inheritances, from the government.
Awesome. And we will link to Profit Boss Radio if you're out walking the dog or on your way to or from work or whatever, away from your computer. We've got you covered at stackybenjamins.com on our show notes page. That's going to do it for us today, guys. Doug, take it from here, man. What should we have learned today?
So, what did we learn today? First, lying about your salary to impress people or to keep the peace, whatever your gender? Stop it. Who lies to the Census Bureau anyway? Jeez. Second, are you aggressively pursuing your goals like today's caller, Leo? Relax, man. Enjoy life. And remember, you can't control anything but the present. But the big lesson? Hey, kids, realize your parents are less in love with the idea of giving you an inheritance than you are. So convince them by quitting your job and camping in their basement. Maybe start a podcast. Invite your friends over to help. It's a strategy. It can work. Special thanks to CFP Hilary Hendershott for stopping by. You'll find Profit Boss Radio wherever you're listening to this podcast. Thanks to Patrick Boyadji from RateGravity for joining us. Check out RateGravity at RateGravity.com. Paula Pant appears courtesy of AffordAnything.com. This show was created by Joe Salsihai, produced by Richie Rutter-Reese, and engineered by the amazing Steve Stewart. Online, visit us on Twitter at @SBenjaminsCast or on our Facebook page. I'm Joe's mom's neighbor, Doug, and I'm wondering if KY jelly is actually made in Kentucky. SB Podcasts may receive payment on the show from sponsors and guests in the form of books, giveaway items, discounts, or other remuneration. There's no way you would take advice from these dorks, but like Joe's mom always says, don't take advice from people you don't know. This show is for entertainment purposes only, and before making any financial moves, consult with a real financial advisor.
Welcome to the after show. This is the part of the show that doesn't exist. What happens in the after show, for those of you that are new, stays here.
It's like Fight Club.
We don't talk about it. Today is International Right to Know Day. Did you know that, Paula?
I did not know that, but I had the right to know that.
You totally had the international right to know that. So I thought we should get to know each of the three of you. So let's play a game. And I'm sure you played this game on long car trips when you were growing up. Maybe you didn't.
Oh boy.
Maybe just my family did. So tell us 3 things about yourself. 2 of these things are a lie. And one of them, unbelievably, is true.
Now, wait a second. You said 3 facts. You didn't say they had to be about me.
Yeah, they were 3 facts about you.
No.
What kind of facts did you think they were?
Well, I looked up some fun trivia.
I meant 3 facts
so
about you.
2 have to be right?
No, 1.
Okay, so this is 2 truths and a lie, right?
Yeah, 2. No. Oh, yeah. Yeah, 2 truths. Is it 2 truths and a lie or 2 lies and a truth?
No, it's 2 truths and a lie.
So one of them's a lie.
You want 2 lies and a truth.
I did want 2 lies and a truth, and we were going to try to pick the one that was real.
Let's do it.
Oh, gosh. I am so underprepared. Okay. Pick me last. I can think of 3 ridiculous truths. Does that count?
No.
I think they're supposed to be ridiculous.
But I don't have any lies. You wouldn't believe them anyway.
Is Paula giving 3 things about herself too?
Yes. Yeah. We're all going to do it,
So
and the rest
all
of us are going to.
It's just that she's the only one who's prepared.
Well, essentially, what my strategy was I thought of the truth, and then I just, in my head, created 2 lies that are closely related to that truth.
Oh.
So then it's very easy for me to remember exactly what they are.
Okay, that's a good idea. Let me think of one more truth then, and then I can make it into a lie.
And you've heard of the game, by the way, before. And Hilary, you corrected me on this. It's 2 truths and a lie. But I kind of like this idea of 2 lies, and we got to pick out something that's really wacky and true about you. I think that's kind of a more fun game, don't you? No. Hilary's like, I don't think any of this is fun. There is nothing about this that's fun. All right.
I'm just nervous.
All right, Paula, you're going to go first. Mm-hmm. Paula, give us 3 things, and we gotta find the truth.
All right, 2 lies and a truth. Here we go. I used to have a pet goat. I used to have a pet chicken. I used to have a pet raccoon.
Oh. Who wants
I've totally prepared incorrectly.
Yeah.
Based on that.
OG, are you going to guess
maybe
first?
Am I playing the game wrong? Isn't that how it works?
Okay, now what happens? Do we vote? Because I know my vote.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. OG, what do you think?
We have to pick the one thing that's true? Is that,
yes.
Is that what we have to do?
Yeah. Which one do you think is true?
I believe that you've had a pet goat.
Hilary?
Okay. I'm going to draw this out.
There's a diagram.
All right. So I happened to work with goats when I was broke in Europe. There's an organization called Willing Workers on Organic Farms. I went to the south of France and hung out with about 35 or 40 goats.
Wait a minute. This isn't the time to tell your lie.
No, it's not my lie. And goats are horrible creatures. They're terrible. They eat nasty things. They bite you. They bleat. They ram you. It's awful. So I'm a no on the goat. I also don't think she had a pet chicken because people keep chickens to lay eggs. So I don't think that's a pet. That's a working animal. And I think raccoons are super cute. And if you can domesticate them, I think they can make good pets. So I'm going with 2 lies and a truth, the truth being raccoon.
And I'm going to say the first thing that came to me was just knowing Paula, she had a chicken. I think Paula had a chicken.
Wow. So of the 3 of you, each of you guessed 1.
Which one's right?
It's the goat.
Oh!
You did have a goat.
Yeah.
I
Goats
did have a
horrible.
goat. Very briefly, only for about 2 weeks, but I had a goat.
And will you confirm what Hilary's talking about?
Yeah, I mean, I think just 1 goat is a more pleasant experience than 30 or 40. I can see how 30 or 40 would get out of control. 1 goat wasn't bad. And 1 goat for a couple of weeks. Not too bad.
Wrong answer. Wrong. All right. Hilary, you want to go next? You want me to go next? OG said he wants to go last.
I'm fine with going next.
All right.
1, I've been arrested twice. 2, I'm a high school dropout. 3, I'm afraid of snakes.
Paula, you want to choose first?
Yeah. Well, I can't see you being a high school dropout, and I can't see you being afraid of anything. So I'm going to say you've been arrested twice.
OG?
Yeah, I was definitely going with the arrested part.
I'm going with arrested twice also. Why is it funny that we see you?
This was really transparent.
We see you as this very trustworthy person, but we all think you've been arrested twice.
Yeah, that's really messed up.
And?
The truth is, I'm a high school dropout.
You are a high school dropout.
Yeah. I left high school at the beginning of my junior year, and then I just started getting college credits. Somehow they let me into like Santa Clara University. I have no idea how I did it, but I technically do not even have a high school diploma, nor a GED or anything like that. And the other ones are not true.
And we all think you got arrested.
But she said twice, so that was the tip-off. She probably has been arrested one time, but the clue was twice.
Right. But I don't have to tell you that.
You do not. That's
yeah.
right.
There we go. All right.
Love snake.
Mine. My first one, I personally knew that woman who said that she saw Elvis working at Burger King after he died. My second one, I was once kicked out of a professional basketball game. And the third, my dad drove a car in the NASCAR minor leagues. Paula?
I'm going to guess that your dad drove a car in the NASCAR minor leagues.
Yeah, because that's the kind of redneck I am.
I just there's something about that rings true.
Hilary?
I was going to say NASCAR minor league because it's very specific, and I just don't know how you would think of that. But I'm going with pro basketball game.
All right. OG?
I feel like I should know the answer to this, but I like pro basketball game ejection also. It just seems appropriate.
In the late 80s, there was this crazy time where supposedly in my hometown of Kalamazoo, Michigan, there was this woman who said that she knew Elvis, that she saw him working at the local Burger King, and she went to my church. And there was this huge national explosion about her, and we were all embarrassed because we all knew she was the biggest Fruit Loop alive. And there was this huge thing going around that Elvis really was alive and working at Burger King. And I knew her personally. I totally knew that lady. All right. OG, you ready?
Sure. Okay. I've jumped out of a helicopter while in the air. I've summited Mount McKinley, or I've outrun the police in a police chase.
Hold a second. Is this guy former military?
Yes, this guy is.
Yes. Hilary, you want to go first?
No, you guys know him way better than me.
Paula, go ahead.
I'm guessing you jumped out of a helicopter while it was in the air. Reason for that is I know that you were in the military, and what were your other two? Oh, outrun the police.
And summited Mount McKinley.
So I'm saying no to that because I think that you would call it Denali.
Okay.
And then I'm guessing no on the outrunning the police because I just can't see you outrunning. I mean, I can't see you running from them. I can see if you had
I think you'd be too exhausted.
I just imagine that, if the police were coming after you, you would stop and not risk getting shot at or something.
Hilary, what do you think?
I have a question. Do you ride a motorcycle?
Presently, no.
Have you?
Have I ever been on a motorcycle? The answer to that is yes, of course.
No, have you been a licensed, have you owned a motorcycle?
Oh, sure. You know, because I was in the military. Don't all military people have motorcycles?
Have you seen Top Gun?
I have. I play volleyball on the beach in my jeans to this day as a tribute to Top Gun. See, I'm going to go with you've outrun the police because I think a lot of young men do that on motorcycles.
Thank you.
I'm going with that one too. I think you outran the police. I think the other one's too obvious.
Okay. Never climb Mount McKinley.
Or Denali.
Or Denali. Yep. I was going to say that, but then I was like, I've been close to thinking about it. I've hung from a helicopter called spy rigging, but I've never jumped out of one.
Woohoo!
But I have outrun the police in a police chase on my motorcycle.
Yes.
Yep. Yes. Yes. That was many years ago. Kids don't do that at home. It does not end well generally. Somehow
Did it end in your garage?
And no, it ended at my girlfriend's house, which is now my spouse. But yeah, it was one of those ones where I was just driving too fast through the town and I saw the cop turn around and I'm like, oh, hell no. No. And then he turned his lights on and I'm like, definitely no. And, I kind of zigzagged through the town streets and ended up on this back road.
What a horrible decision.
Oh, ridiculously stupid. Yeah. Yeah, no, it does not end well in 99% of the time where the police go, sir, we would like to talk to you about something. You go, yeah, I don't think so. But I was, 18 or 19 or something. So don't do that.
And there we go. We know that OG could have been arrested twice and Hilary wasn't. And Paula owned a goat. Thank you for playing, everybody.
I like how you brought a bottle of wine to the event. That is fantastic.
Every glass starts inside a bottle, right?
And a straw.
Yes. I love it.
No. I drink my coffee with a straw, not my wine.
Oh, that's right. What am I, a heathen?
You drink your coffee with a straw? Do you drink cold brew?
No, my dental hygienist said if I didn't use a straw, teeth whitening would never be sufficient and I would have gray, brown teeth.
Yeah.
Huh. So do you drink hot coffee through a straw?
That's right.
Wow.
It's impressive.
Yep. It's a skill. It's a muscle. Just like a bicep. You can build it over time.
Burn the hell out of the roof of your mouth. So much so that there's no
feeling.
Skin left.
You can also, have an entire Slurpee without a brain freeze now because that whole part of your mouth is just it's just stalled. It's a double benefit.